Welcome back to class, beautiful people. It's your TTA Pro, Mr. O, back with a reading episode. احنا دلوقتي بنحل December 2020 reading passage number 1, the Charles Dickens novel. Now أنا زي ما قلت لكم أنا عاملها كده برضو just in case برضو في طلبة ما بيحبوش يقروا قوي. بس أيا كان لو ما قرناش الباسج لازم أرجع للباسج ولازم أشوف الإجابات ولازم أشوف صح وغلط ولازم. EST reading is very tricky. Yes, please read the blurb لو سمحت. لو بيديك blurb اقرا blurb. هم tricky من ناحية إيه؟ ممكن الأسئلة نفسهم سهلة والإجابات سهلة. المشكلة بس بيجي تفرقة في الإجابات, right? Finding differences in the answer choices. يعني مش محتاج يعني فلسفة في الريدنج وكده, بس محتاج تركيز. So here, the primary purpose of the line numbers, right? So يجي يسألني على the purpose of the line numbers, كده بيسألني ليه الline numbers دول مكتوبين؟ إيه لازمة line numbers جوه في الباسج وفي الباراجراف؟ Now, if you read the line numbers, it is poetic على فكرة, right? Best of times, worst of times, wisdom, foolishness, belief, incredulity, light, darkness, hope, despair. We had everything, we had nothing. كل ده جاي مع بعض, right? So الاثنين دولت the best of times, worst of times. الاثنين مع بعض. Wisdom, foolishness. الاثنين مع بعض. So is it criticizing a movement? Well, there's no criticism here, right? It's not saying ده غلط أو ده صح or ده أحسن من التاني. So there is no criticism. Your problem هيبقى في إجابة B, right? Establish a theme of duality, right? عشان طلبة يقولوا لي well يعني إيه duality؟ وجاي من كلمة dual. يعني إيه dual? Does anybody know? Right, two, right? Two. So when we talk about duality, ده كده معناها two opposite things existing together. So مثلا love, hate, right? You can't love without hate, you can't hate without love. Or مثلا yin and yang. على فكرة السؤال ده very philosophical, right? Yin and yang. الاثنين لازم يجوا مع بعض. So هنا بيقول لي الاثنين جايين مع بعض. Now طلبة يقولوا لي well Mr. Sema, what about C? Draw a contrast between ideas. فين الكونتراست بقى؟ That's what I need to know. عشان برضو بيقول well we had everything, we had nothing. We all are going to heaven, we're all going the other way. So where is the contrast? يعني ايه contrast? بيوريني differences, صح؟ Not enough يا عم for an answer. So hold on. The contrast معناها لازم يوريني however or yet. Some sort of word. أيوة, you're telling me drawing a contrast. So كده معناه بيوريني or he shows me differences. He's not showing me differences. هو بيقول لي في التايمز دولت two things موجودين. So مثلا التايم نفسه it was a time of light and a time of darkness. الاثنين دولت مع بعض. ما بيقوليش it was light yet there was still some darkness in كذا كذا كذا. لا, هو ما بيعملش كده. هو بيكلمني specifically on time وبيوصف التايم, right? مونيكا بعتي لي على الشات تاني أسامة أحمد, Mr. Osama or Osama Ahmed, whatever it's called. Yeah. So there is no contrast being drawn here, right? So that won't be acceptable. Discredit the time period. Well, Mr. Amr, that's what appeared for me yesterday. An instance of opposition or contrast between two concepts or two aspects of something. Dualism. Dualism معناها two things عايشين مع بعض. Like happy, sad. And this is true. ده الحياة بتاعتنا. It's dual. It's one of the laws of the universe, right? ده موجودة وزي polarity مثلا. في حاجة extreme وحاجة liberal, right? There's polarity, there's dualism, there's whatever. Okay, Mr. عمرو, انت دلوقتي بتقول لي well انا قلت اجابة دي بسبب time period. يا ابني لازم نبطل حركة number one confirmation bias. يعني ايه confirmation bias؟ حد يعرف يعني ايه confirmation bias؟ You have to fight this. Confirmation bias يعني أنا بنقي إجابة وبقول الإجابة دي صح أيا كان. You're confirming you're correct. بالظبط. No, you choose an answer ومقتنع بإجابتك. بس كل حاجة تانية بيقولك لا ده غلط. بس بتنقي أي أسباب أو أي سبب يقول لا أنا صح. So for example, أنت بتقولي answer D. Right? Okay. عشان French Revolution. So هو بيقول كل الكلام ده for a time period. What about discredit? Is he discrediting a time period? No, he's describing a time period. عشان دلوقتي yes يا مستر عمرو انت لسه بتعملي confirmation bias. عشان عمرو دلوقتي بيقول لي well بيكلمني عن French Revolution ده التايم period discredit يعني foolishness وسبت كل حاجه ثانيه صح؟ ركزت على الكلمتين دول وسبت الباقي. This is confirmation bias. ده اللي بتكلم عليه. Which is a big problem خصوصا في الريدنج. عشان لازم اشوف كل الانفورميشن على بعضيها. What about these two opposites? What about these two opposites and these two and these two? What about اما اجي ابدا اقرا الباسج نفسه بيقول لي well we had everything we had nothing, right? We're going to heaven, we're going to hell. Why did you ignore all of this? So it is a theme of duality, right? That's the main idea هنا. And برضو establishing a theme يعني المين idea خدوا بالكم هو بيقول لي في البلورب ده في بداية الباسج صح؟ This is the first paragraphs of the novel. So he's introducing the theme من أولها. This is the introduction to the novel. So لازم Mr. عمرو I've noticed ده معاك confirmation bias is your enemy. Let's go to question number 2 right here. So the evidence in the passage suggests that the story most likely takes place in, right? Well, what year? It's right here, guys. 1775. We're reviewing Mrs. Monica, which is very important, Habibti. 1775. قلت لي Mr. عمرو إجابة A, the 17th century. صح؟ 1775, 17th century. Centuries يا جماعة. Centuries يا جماعة is one ahead. So من 0 to 100 that the first century. من 100 to 200 that's the second century. Right? Monica لسه بكرة. Okay? لسه بكرة. So here, when 1775, بنتكلم عن centuries plus 1. So it's the 18th century. Now again, ده سؤال evidence خدوا بالكم. أنا مش لازم أدور على evidence عشان إجابة زي ديت. ده أنا ممكن أحدد evidence بنفسي على طول. This is so simple. So لو أنتوا like okay هنقول إجابة B صح؟ وأنا بقول دلوقتي في السؤال اللي بعديها evidence. Guys ده مش محتاج اقعد اقرا الافيدنس الاول واقرا الاربعه افيدنس والاقي what century this takes place. If you did that لا لازم نشتغل على reading skills. اوكي مونيكا باي. لازم نشتغل على reading skills. ده مش مطلوب خالص مني اقعد اقرا الافيدنس الاول. If you want a 700 this is one of the simpler questions. عشان اهو من غير تفكير بقى انا لقيت الاجابه هنا and that's it I'm done. Evidence number 2 I'm done. ده مش محتاج بقى اقعد ادور. مشكله في الافيدنس وانتوا مدمنين في الحركه ديت. By the way 700 plus students معظم الوقت يعرفوا يجاوبوا السؤال قبل الافيدنس بعد كده بيجاوبوا الافيدنس. The only time you check evidence is when you're stuck. الافيدنس بقى بيساعدنا. But generally speaking لو انا فهمت الباسج والايدياز وعايز اعدي ل 700 right؟ Yeah sure عايز اعدي 700 I should have been able to answer this very quickly من غير سؤال الافيدنس. So here هنقول answer B من غير تفكير. Remember evidence is for support of your answer. انا بستخدم evidence كsupport او كconfirmation. عشان again you can tell me well Mr. Osama well the evidence ممكن بيساعدني لو شفتوا النور tests او شفتوا في الامتحان I think number في passage 3 و 4 في الامتحان ده كده لازم اقرا الباسج. حركه نقرا evidence ده الاول ده عشان الطلبه اللي عايزين يجيبوا 500 مثلا. You know? Here. Question number 4. Mrs. Southcott had recently attained her 20 or 25th birthday. So يعني attained she earned earned ده معناها ياخد work أو مجهود right بس بنتكلم عن سن so no she won again attained ممكن معناها won بس context مختلف يعني تكسب right no she achieved her 25th birthday بس achievement ده زي وصلت مستوى معينة في شغلي أو حياتي. Well, no, right? You reach your 25th birthday, right? أنا عايش ده كل ده كل ده كل ده وصلت 25th birthday. I reached it. That was easy, I think. There's much harder vocabulary. Number 5. It can be inferred from the passage that the author most likely views the ruling power as which of the following. One comment يا جماعة اللي عايزين تطلعوا إجاباتكم my profile skill drill test. الإجابات والأسئلة وكل حاجة موجودة عندكم. So how does the author view the ruling power? Well, again, you have to read through the paragraph. ده الدماغ أو ده السؤال في دماغي. Mr. عمرو أنت قلت لي answer C. A power formed of woodmen, farmers, and working class. I mean, there's a huge difference between B and C, right? France less favored, under the guidance of those who ruled her, she entertained herself, besides, with such humane achievements that were nothing but humane. This is your answer, right? عشان بيقول لك the people who ruled her were humane, right? كان عندهم رحمة. But they were nothing, or that were nothing but humane, sentencing a youth to his utter demise. It's clear هنا في sarcasm. في سؤال برضو هنا later on. But أكيد there's sarcasm here عشان بيقول well the king and queen wow they're humane, they're merciful, they're respectful. شايف عملوا إيه؟ ذبحوا طفل. That's how respectful and merciful they are. So you told me answer C. It's a power formed of woodmen, farmers. But Habibi, woodmen, fate, this is a metaphor. Right? This is a metaphor, by the way. So answer C, you definitely wouldn't say answer C. Right? You would go with answer B. They're an oppressive, unjust power. Well, how do we know this? They killed a youth. Right? Wulay, he had not kneeled down in the rain. عشان كده أخذ العذاب. He didn't kneel down. Kneel يعني ينزل ركبته. Right? Say almost like يسجد, right? قريب يعني. So they killed him عشان ما كانش راضي ينزل ركبته. So how would you describe a ruling power? You would describe them as oppressive and unjust. ذبحوا طفل بالسبب يعني من غير سبب. Right? But you told me answer A. Here, it's likely enough that they're rooted in the woods of France and Norway. There were growing trees when the sufferer was put to death, already marked by the woodman, fate to come down and swims forward. انت شفت كلمة woodman وده الإجابة صح؟ ده اللي حصل والله ده حصل. انت بتنقي إجابات بسبب keywords. That's what you're doing يا عم. ده واضح by the way. And if you catch yourself doing that لا يعني خصوصا in reading مفيش keywords. I know some teachers they teach keywords. No guys ده مش ينفع نهائي, right? The tone of the paragraph. So the tone of the paragraph, right? Satirical جاي من كلمة satire, right? Satire ليه علاقة بالسياسة. أما واحد بيتريق على الحكومة أو هنا الking والqueen, he's being satirical. ليه? Well, he's calling them humane with humane achievements that were nothing but humane. بعدين بيدينا example على الhumane achievements دولت. Well, again, is this humane? No. There's sarcasm here, right? Oh, look at them. They're so humane, they kill children. My shirt is always going to the right. I don't know why. Right? They're so humane, بيذبحوا أطفال. That's how humane they are, Ya Abdurrahman, right? So it's satirical of the الحاجة. You said condescending. You talk condescending معناها to talk down. طيب ليه? Right? Grudging means angry, right? Skeptical, يعني doubtful. These could all be correct. No problem, Abdu. ممكن دول تبقى صح مثلا, but السؤال بقى where's the clear support عشان condescending or grudging or skeptical, right? هنا الراجل he's criticizing the government or he's criticizing the king and queen through satire. With satire is بستخدم irony or بستخدم sarcasm or بستخدم comedy to criticize politics. Question number 7, based on the passage, which of the following statements about the author's use of metaphor can be made, right? ولا في أي مشكلة يا Mr. عبد الرحمن, right? Mr. Ahmed, you told me answer D, right? The author uses metaphors to support concrete evidence. Now, that's what evidence, by the way. أنا ما كنتش المفروض أديكم الأرقام دول. ما بحبش أعمل كده. بحب أنتوا تفهموا الانفورميشن الأول. لو قرأتوا الباراجراف ده الميتافور جاية هنا. The woodman faked. So again, if you read the context, there were growing trees when that sufferer was put to death, already marked by the woodman fate, right? So fate يعني قدر. So there's a woodman اللي ماشي بالaxe, that's fate, come down and be sawn into boards to make certain movable yada yada yada. It is likely enough that in rough outhouses of some tillers of heavy lands adjacent to Paris, they were sheltered from the weather that very day. Let's look at B. But that woodman and that farmer, what meaning farmer? Farmer's death. These are metaphors. So هنا بيقارن a woodman with fate, قدر, and the farmer بيقارنها ب death. These are metaphors. يعني ايه metaphor؟ بتقارن حاجة بحاجة تانية. Right? So for example, I am the mountain. The metaphor. صح? The EST is a tempest. The metaphor. بقارن حاجة بحاجة تانية. So here he's using it to get his point across. So that woodman fate and that farmer death, through they work unceasingly, work silently, and no one heard them as they went about with muffled tread, right? So death and fate are walking together. These are all metaphors as stylistic devices. The author uses metaphors to emphasize narrative structure. يعني إيه؟ يعني إيه؟ I don't know what this means على فكرة جابت B. عشان metaphor, the stylistic device. طيب تمام. A metaphor to emphasize narrative structure. It's weird, right? It's weird. The author uses metaphors to persuade the reader of his position. You can do this على فكرة, right? ممكن استخدم metaphor عشان أقنعك بس هنا مش بيقنعني بحاجة. And the author uses metaphors to support concrete evidence. So what's the concrete evidence? I mean, دلوقتي بيكلمني عن situation, and it's a fictional story. So again, you have to think about كل ده لما نيجي نحل questions. Question number 8, which one is the best evidence? أهني إجابة بيوريني metaphors as a stylistic device. Is he though? Is he persuading me بكده? Because he's not. Persuading me يعني عنده position وعايز يغير رأيي. Where is this persuasion? Persuasion ما بيجيش في fictional passages. Persuasion is non-fiction. Right now in fiction, he's telling me a story. So مش لازم يقنعني بأي حاجة. That's not his job. لازم نحط برضو الكاتيجوري بتاع الباسج في وجهة نظرنا. In fictional stories مش بيقنعنا ممكن الثيم ممكن نستخدم theme for persuasion مثلا. Like مثلا كتاب Animal Farm. عارفين Animal Farm? Right? أكيد قرأتوها في المدرسة. Right? The theme is communism is bad. مثلا. Okay, he's persuading me through a story. But I don't use metaphors in fiction to persuade. I can use theme, but not metaphors. With theme and overall idea. صح? And usually I won't use metaphors for persuasion. Question number 8, احنا قلنا, well, Amr, again, you're choosing just, sometimes Amr, you told me bespattered, right? Bespattered with rustic mire, snuffed out by cows, and roosted in by poultry, which the farmer death had already set apart. We have a metaphor here. انت صح? He's using a metaphor here, صح? But the problem is, answer B is a more complete metaphor. Do you see the problem? لو بس بحل عن طريق evidence, لازم الانسر يبقى fully complete. ما ينفعش يبقى عندي جزء. And they're very good at this على فكرة EST board or the EST exam. They're very good at giving us an evidence or بدون evidence. واثنين ممكن يطلعوا صح by the way. بس في واحد أفضل من الثاني. You know, there's one stronger than the other. And answer D is stronger than answer C بالنسبة using metaphors as a stylistic device. Why? عشان well here in the end بيتكلم عن الاثنين, the farmer and the woodman, which هو بيبدأ بيها أساساً right. So آخر واحدة ديت بيربط الميتافور مع بعض. بيintroduce الwoodman قدر fate، بيintroduce الfarmer death، وبعد كده بقى بيعمل إيه؟ بيربط الايدياز كلهم مع بعض. So the evidence is very tricky من ناحية لازم يبقى more complete أو لازم يبقى the most complete evidence. And this is why أنا مش مقتنع من ناحية نحل evidence الأول by the way. ممكن يساعدني أفوكس على line numbers معينة مثلا right؟ بس غير كده that's not going to be the way أنا هستخدمه. Question number 9, tread most nearly means, so the woodman and the farmer, they went about with muffled tread. Well, يعني muffled, يعني silent. So something silent, a silent path, a silent journey, silent footsteps, or silent parade, right? It'll be answer C, silent footsteps. The keyword gave an adjective, هنا muffled. Any questions here? Beautiful people, the passage 1. There was a main idea question. I forgot to put it up. I'm sorry. Okay, this is passage 1, December 2020. You can learn anything, Mr. Asama out.